What's up, everybody? It's Tina and Brian with IGN, and we have from Gearbox here with us today, Paul Sage and Randy Varnell. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
And we're going to break down the brand new E3 Borderlands 3 trailer. Right off the get-go, we have Lilith describing something suspicious going on. She's not a siren anymore. What's happening there?
I mean, you just called it out. She's not a siren anymore. We'll reveal a little bit more about that as the story progresses. But yeah, people see her tattoos disappear, and there's a reason why.
And she mentions that there's only 6 sirens left. Is there anything to do with that? I mean, I know that sirens are really powerful characters because they can, charge up vault keys and whatnot.
Right. So this is a point of lore that's been talked about in other Borderlands, and only kind of the obscure lore nerds know it at this point. So of course I know it, but we wanted to be sure because sirens are going to be very important to the story of Borderlands 3. So we wanted to start off with this trailer with some info that just kind of catches everybody up where we are. There are 6 sirens in the universe. Lilith was one of them. Now she's looking for your help, and that's literally how Borderlands 3. It opens in there. You're going to get some more explanation in there. I'm trying to skirt around here. I don't want to give too much away because there's so much cool story that you get to experience as a player and all of that. But this is a really great tease for a conflict that's going to hit our commander Lilith right in the face.
So feel free to dodge the question if it gets too spoilery. In the first reveal trailer of Borderlands 3, we see Lilith kind of struggling as she crawls towards a vault key that's just laying on the ground, missing her siren runes. But early in the trailer and at that same time, we see one of the Calypso twins with siren runes, and generally sirens are female, but now we've got this Calypso twin male with siren runes on his arms. Is that indicative of like her powers being siphoned and like taken and moved to him by some sort of siren magic?
You're asking great questions.
That,
Those are very
yeah.
good questions. And you're right, because in the previous Borderlands lore, 6 sirens in the universe, and they're all female. And we've seen some new ones appear over time. Of course, we have a player character siren every game, and then we've seen some sirens depart. Angel in Borderlands 2 was a siren. It was revealed. Spoilers again. 7-year statute of limitations on spoilers. Right. It's good. We're good. But and so we're mixing it up again. You've asked some really good questions about the Calypso twins, the villains in our game, Troy and Tyrene. There's some things that are usually indicative of siren powers, which are the tattoos on the arm and all of that. But I don't want to go into a lot of detail because, again, I think there's some really good questions. But what I love that we're doing right now is establishing the ground rules for people to remember. In the Borderlands universe, there are only 6 sirens at a time, and they have been all female up to this point.
And they're very powerful.
And I think the question people should be asking is, why does Troy have his arm missing?
Ooh.
So why does Troy have his arm missing?
That's what people should be asking. Correct.
Yeah,
Well done.
all right.
All right, so moving on, we immediately go from her speech down to Pandora. We get a brief glimpse of Pandora again. And if you freeze frame it, it looks like there's some art of the Hyperion space station that crash landed here. So is there anything that you can speak to about the art in particular?
It's the art of the Hyperion space station that crash landed there. What?
I stole your line.
Yeah, I think this is just about us wanting to be consistent, right? So the station has crashed. That's previous lore, and so we just wanted to make that consistent on Pandora, so you could see that and just reassure people. Yep, we're picking back up into
That
the
happened.
universe you're with. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll add one little snippet on that. But this and the Commander Lilith DLC that we released today, we very intentionally wanted to be sure that we have players that have played Borderlands 2 religiously, a lot of Borderlands 1 players, the pre-sequel. We've had a lot of players that really love Tales of the Borderlands. All of those stories are canonical and they all fit together, but not everybody has experienced everything. Well, Borderlands 3 definitely ties a lot of those threads of the lore back together. We bring in some characters that have not met before and done all that. So we wanted to be sure that the big events that happened in those games, things that we talked about in the pre-sequel, things that happened in Tales of the Borderlands, are brought back into the main game in a way that's very visible for players and they can see and really kickstart themselves onto understanding what's going on in the universe.
Almost like an Easter egg.
Definitely. Yeah.
Any chance that we'll get it as a playable area, but just a broken down just space station on the ground of Pandora?
That actually exists in the skybox, so that's not a playable area.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Play Commander Lilith and the fight for Sanctuary.
Ooh, good tease, good tease. All right, speaking of Tales of the Borderlands, we get this image Let's see. I'm going to skip forward here. Let's see where we find these two right here. All right. So, Commander Lilith has been out for a few hours now already.
Yes.
We know that Vaughn and Ellie interact with each other. Is this Vaughn just gone nuts after the years passed?
Yeah, that is 100% Vaughn.
I knew it. And he's just crazy. Is that his lucky underwear?
I mean, absolutely. That's
Yeah, all I'll say on this is there's a story with the underwear, and you'll get to experience it in Borderlands 3. Is that the way we say that? You experience Vaughn's underwear in Borderlands 3?
Because we get a tease of it in Commander Lilith, but now
Commando
I guess
Lilith.
Commando. Oh, there we go. All right, come on.
Well done.
We're done here. We're done here.
Well, speaking of the character specifically, if we scrub back to who is Patricia Tannis and Rhys, an older kind of shaggier, scraggier Rhys. It looks on first brush that they're.
Scraggy?
Yeah, he's got like his hair's grown out a little bit more, his facial hair. I mean, in a good way. It's totally
okay,
good.
a good way. Totally.
Yeah.
Reese is totally with it.
It's like hobo chic. Well, I guess not in this frame. So I take that back. But it looks like they're high-fiving, but they're putting a piece together? What's going on with that?
It looks an awful lot like a vault key, but too small to be a vault key.
I mean, size isn't what always matters, right?
All right, okay. As they say.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things that you've done there. I think you've put together like what may be happening. We're going after vaults, and so yeah, they may be working on something exactly like that.
Yeah, it looks like, just based off of context clues, they're on Promethea, which, was his headquarters. So it seems like they're bartering some kind of a deal. It seems like a very collaborative moment.
Yeah, I'll just add, for people that are coming in new, that are meeting Rhys for the first time, he had a really cool story arc in Tales of the Borderlands where you get to see him. Again, he's kind of a corporate stooge for Hyperion. He has to go through this whole thing where he's got really the ghost of Handsome Jack in his head. And by the end of it, you actually have some choices as a player to make in Tales, and the type of game that is, where what's Rhys going to do? And we've kind of answered that in Borderlands 3. He grew up and has taken on the Atlas Corporation. He's leading Atlas. He's set up the home base of Atlas on Promethea and all of that. And he has resources and stress now at his disposal. You see him, he's graying a little the temples, and he has this wonderful lip decoration going on there. But Rhys has access to some resources, and you're asking great questions.
Resources.
Resources, right, good. This is perfect. This is the perfect Borderlands interview.
Yeah, and he gives the camera a little wink, too, so it's definitely suggestive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is he not?
It almost seems like, now this might be a bit of a reach, but as somebody who's seen a lot of movies with a lot of teases that usually end, this looks like the ending screen of the video game. They're teasing something, look at the camera, wink, credits roll.
I would say if you look at anything in our trailers and you think that's the ending,
all right.
Or in fact, if you ever think it's the ending, don't be so sure.
Okay, all right.
Never ends. So if we want to transition over to talk about some features too, there's a couple other details that we noticed early on, just after that crash landing scene from Hyperion Space Station. It looks like on these vehicles there's some like digistructed shields on the back, the front, the sides. Is that what's happening? Is that a enemy shield ability, or do you get that shield ability?
So this is with our vehicles, we have the ability to hijack an enemy vehicle now. So all of the different vehicles that you see have like different parts. As you've identified, you see the shields on that one. You might see like what looks like a cattle catcher on the front of this other one, and those are all parts. So if you hijack a vehicle and you take it back to a catcher ride, then you unlock those parts to be able to put onto your vehicles.
So that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
That means that more mechanical progression or upgrades to your vehicles is going to be a thing in Borderlands, based on you being able to hijack these cars, get those shields, take them to the garage, and
that's right.
Update your own vehicles.
That's right. In fact, I've got a funny anecdote about that. We've been for the last several months in the phase of the project. We're bringing groups of focus testers to come and play kind of the game long form. And they only get a week or two to play the game, which for a Borderlands-sized game is they have to keep moving to get to where we want them to get. We actually had to tell one of our testers to stop going and hunting down vehicle parts for a bit because they were enjoying the system so much. Just going out, hijacking a vehicle, looking for those random pieces. I mean, I think it's got a little bit of that great collector, gotta have them all kind of instinct in there. So it's pretty cool. But there's a lot of different ways you can customize your vehicle, both in ways that make a difference in gameplay. You know, you could change out the guns in Borderlands 2, but this is guns and armor and some other things. But also, we still have vehicle skins and some other aesthetic options that you can get as well.
Are there going to be missions specific to like finding really cool upgrades for your vehicles?
Yeah, so earlier we talked about challenges. There's a full challenge around getting vehicle parts. So Ellie is kind of leading that on the challenges, and there are definitely vehicle missions in the game.
Awesome. And then just briefly after this one too, or real quick after this one, there's one of those big baddies with it looks like there's a loot chest on their back. So that kind of enemy type is returning. Anything new with them?
Oh boy, this is one of those ones you want to be careful about. But yeah, so one of my favorites is actually the loot tink. I think we saw that earlier as well, right? And the funny thing about a loot tink is if you don't kill it in time, like it'll just go away. So once you see one, you really have to concentrate on it. And in the midst of things, that gets pretty chaotic. So, but they offer some really great loot.
Awesome. And then shortly after, we also see Flak coming up. And we've been surmising that the Beastmaster would, of course, be a master of beasts, and that's effectively confirmed. So that's good to know. Is he actually summoning all three at once here?
For the purposes of this trailer,
Okay.
he is. Yes.
Yeah, we weren't sure if that was like an ultimate ability or something.
Look, I'd say that's creative license at this point.
Gotcha.
When are we going to see more of Flak?
We're going to see more at Gamescom in August.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Cool. And then next up, there's a gun that shoots loot. The shloot.
It's
Shooter.
flutes. Yes.
This is the biggest one we want to talk about. Like it's a gun that shoots loot. I hate to say it, but we're a literal loot shooter.
Yes.
I'm assuming that was in your guys' brains when you were making this gun. It's like, hey, we're a looter shooter. Why don't we have a gun that shoots loot?
Yes.
So can you tell us more about how this gun will function? Is it a gun that'll do damage, or is it like a timed thing, or one-time use only, or what's going on here?
This is a gun that shoots guns.
Does it shoot infinite guns?
It does. If you had infinite resources to shoot, then maybe.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it does take some kind of resource to shoot.
What's the manufacturer?
Yes.
Can it shoot? Yeah. Can it shoot legendaries?
Yes.
Ooh. All right. I'm gonna segue that into something else about rarity. Can it shoot effervescence rarity? Is that going to be in Borderlands 3? That rarity.
What a bubbly question that is. That is not a rarity type by name.
Okay. Noted. Anything else about this gun that you can tell us? I imagine there are some limitations to it. It's not going to be this super OP thing.
I'm just really glad that everybody spotted it because it was a kind of a really classic clip in here. But yes, we have a gun.
Well, when you've got a cheeseburger gun, you've got to have a gun
That's
too.
Right.
Wrap it all together.
I'm still thinking about your pasta gun from earlier.
We need that in life. So we also see Maya with longer hair in the trailer. She looks great in her longer hair. And is she teaching this new character that we don't know about, like a siren ability? It looks like that's what's happening.
As much as she can, she is. Yes.
So it's kind of coming back along to the siren trajectory. Is this a situation where like sirens can be trained, or what else can you go into there? I'm sure there's spoiler territory.
I don't want to go into a lot right now, but again, you're great eyes and great questions. We will confirm. I think Paul said earlier, we were sharing with you, this character's name is Ava, and you'll be learning a lot more about her in the future. And she is Maya's protege, and the game will definitely talk about more about sirens all the way around. So I'm really having to pick my words carefully because I don't want to. There's so much cool to discover here on that. I don't want to give it away, but you've got the gist of it. There's definitely a teaching moment going here, and Ava's not there yet.
Gotcha. Well, let's watch the rest of the trailer and see what else we missed, because that's kind of about the questions that we wanted to confirm or deny. Anything that. Obviously, the gun with legs is an important feature.
It is, yeah. I mean, we haven't even talked about Claptrap returning.
Claptrap can't walk upstairs.
The
bane of his existence.
it might be a mental blot, maybe.
So can we confirm any new characters in this particular screenshot?
Yeah, this is a great one. And again, we're not going to go into a lot of detail here, but since we're kind of showing off Eden 6 this week, this is a great one to bring up because this is a character named Wainwright Jacobs. Now, you might focus on the last name there because he's very important to the story of the game. We talked about earlier how Eden 6 is the ancestral home of the Jacobs dynasty. They have an estate there that you're going to get to see, and there's some cool stuff going on in that. Wainwright is tied up in that. And I won't give you a lot more than there, but he and Hammerlock are definitely friends, and they've got some stakes going on there, and you're going to be able to meet and greet and talk to him and get to know him and figure out how you can help him on Eden 6.
So is he going to be our Tony Stark weapons manufacturer of the Borderlands universe?
I would not have compared him to Tony Stark.
All right. Well, I don't know much about him, so hopefully he's a nice guy. But he sells and makes guns, so we'll see.
I mean, but
well, maybe if he doesn't sell them,
in the
but he's
Borderlands
got the
universe,
last
that
name.
doesn't preclude you from necessarily being Borderlands nice.
Fair.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so okay, this chest, this really large, extravagant, glowing chest with a crazy-looking gun in it. Can you tell us anything about this?
I can. That is the Golden Key chest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. It looks great. So
We saw that on Sanctuary 3 actually earlier this year.
So now this chest, I don't think in Borderlands 2, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you could get legendaries out of that Golden Key chest.
Oh yeah.
You could get legendaries in there.
Or you couldn't? You couldn't.
Okay,
No,
because
you
I was
could
saying,
not.
I played it.
Other high end, but not legendaries.
Right. So this is one of those things where I can assure you that you can get legendaries out of our Golden
Okay.
Key chest.
Awesome. Still going to be one key consumable per chest, I assume?
That's right. Yes.
Top.
Cool, let's keep it going. So here's our Children of the Vault, and they're in charge of a bunch of psychos.
Yeah, Troy and Tyrene Calypso, they've done what we thought was undoable. You know, in the previous games, you've seen the bandits start to clan up a little bit, but you've never seen all of the bandits on Pandora united into a single clan, and that's definitely one of the big things that you'll wander into in the opening state of this game. The Children of the Vault have under the Calypso's leadership, taken over Pandora, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Are these particular characters, like, you know, these guys in this screenshot, or are we not getting into that yet?
One of the nice things about this, although they're actually part of the bandit army, but you can see like the variety here that we have in our bandit army. You know, those are fanatics, and there's just a huge variety. We've introduced you know, female fanatics for the first time as part of the bandit army in Borderlands 3. So a little bit of information there.
Cool, but Lilith has a better idea for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just throw up a black box.
Any other enemy types here that we haven't seen before that you guys can shout out?
Well, I mean, you definitely see the Saurian there just a few frames back, the big dinosaur that breathes fire. They're one of the kind of indigenous species on Eden 6. You'll see a lot of different varieties of those, but definitely one of the new things to play with in the game.
And obviously, like, this is another one of those for the purposes of the trailer. I mean, I imagine you can combine your abilities with your co-op characters, but not maybe as choreographed in this way.
Well, so you saw Flack actually jump on the back of the Iron Bear there, Moses Iron Bear. That's absolutely in the game. You know, so it depends on how good you are, I guess, of whether it's
Can he
that
jump
choreographed.
on the back of the Iron Bear and go invis?
No, I think you're locked out of your action skill once you're on the back of the Iron Bear.
Okay.
But you could come out of your action skill onto the back of Iron Bear.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, that's everything that we've managed to notice. We end on the beautiful cover art again. You guys didn't go with the shooting in the head 3 times on this edition, but I believe everyone's a big fan of this one. Any behind-the-scenes insight into the cover art before we end it off?
I mean, this is cover. I mean, I love this cover art because we did subvert the expectations a little bit of not just having it do that, you know, holding up the 3, all the characters in the roses. You know, I think one of the big things for us was to put, like, how many little details can we put in this? So it you know, goes back to being a kid of, like, you know, what's different in this picture or what can you notice? And that was the fun. It was play a game just with our art.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. This has been a great dissection of the trailer, and I'm sure many other details that we didn't mention or catch, but thank you for that.
All right, one last question. I'm not sure what kind of answer I'll get from this. I'm expecting nothing. Is Flack Loaderbot, not a Loaderbot, but Loaderbot from Tales from the Borderlands?
I think we should give a definitive answer here on Flack.
Okay. No, Flack is not Loaderbot from Tales of the Borderlands. Flack is Flack.
Good to know.
A lot more of an answer than I thought I was going to get.
All right.
Well, on that final confirmation note, thanks so much for joining us, guys, and breaking down the trailer with us.